Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent this week, My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of April 23rd to the 29th, where I take a look at a couple of stories and give you my thoughts and my opinion on them. And we got 4 stories to cover this week, though. We're back to the 4 compared to last week, which was at 5, which is basically rumors going around about about Nintendo's next system and the possibility of backwards or cross capability, though. The CMA's ruling on the Microsoft Activision deal, which kind of surprised a lot of folks out there in terms of their ruling and everything like that. Review bombing that's been going around with Horizon Burning Shores, though, and the FTC wants to take a look at the deal Nintendo signed with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard over Call of Duty and all. And if you're interested in where I got the source of these information, though, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube, though. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details and everything like that. The first one is that apparently Guerrilla Games has teased that there basically might be another entry into the Horizon series, though, with still, Aloy and all, though. Now, nothing official has been announced at this time, though, but it does seem to indicate, I'm not really surprised by this, though, and all. I mean, considering the so far reviews on it, though, mixed on user reviews, I'll get to that later, though. It doesn't surprise me that they're going to do a third entry, to be exact, though. What kind of approach they'll take with the third entry, that remains to be seen at this time, though. But yeah, I'm not really surprised that a third entry of the Horizon series is going to happen and all. It doesn't really surprise me at all. Although I am curious of what Guerrilla Games might do next after, assuming this third game does happen. Do they go back and maybe revise Killzone to a certain degree? Or do they come up with a brand new IP like they did after Killzone? They went with Horizon Zero Dawn, the first entry in the Horizon series, though. We also learned that Platinum Games, or Square Enix's Nier Automata series, has surpassed 7 or 7.5 million copies across all platforms and all. So the game certainly has done very well, to be exact, though. I think that's really good. I'm glad this game is doing very well. It is a good game, though. Story might be confusing for some people, though, to be exact, though, but it's really nice that this game is doing very well. Even I think the Switch version did very well, despite the port being handled by Virtuos and everything like that. But still, very nice to see that this game has done very well for Platinum and Square Enix, though. I would love to see a third entry in the Nier series if that does happen. That would be certainly really good and all. We also learned that the developers of The Order 1886, a game released back during the early days of the PS4, Ready at Dawn, apparently ripped apart Facebook and all that stuff. This was before basically Facebook acquired Ready at Dawn. They wanted to work with them with the VR and the whole meta stuff, but since it seems Facebook is moving away from that, though, the folks at Ready at Dawn are not happy about what happened, especially with this acquisition and all that stuff. And it is a little bit unfortunate, to be exact, though. But then again, there have been questions about Mark Zuckerberg's handling of the whole meta, VR in general. There have been questionable decisions that he has made, to be exact, though. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate with the Ready at Dawn employees, and I can understand why they basically are not happy with this and all. We also learned that there's basically 2 physical editions of games coming from Limited Run Games. The first one is going to be off of the Alien Isolation games that has been released on multiple platforms. It was first released on the Nintendo. It was first released when it came to the Nintendo Switch. It was only a digital-only release, but now there are plans to bring in a physical edition as well. I mean, limited runs, it can be a hit and miss sometimes, depending on how you want to look at it, though. But I have heard good things about the Switch version, though, and I've heard good things about Alien Isolation, to be exact, though. It's just a shame it didn't do as well as probably Sega had hoped for, some of that, a majority of that has to do with the fallout we saw with alien colonial marines and everything like that, though. And that's not the only physical edition, though. We're also learning that basically that there are plans to do one based off of the Jurassic Park video games, though. That was basically basically based off the 30th anniversary of the original Jurassic Park coming out, though. No word about how this is going to go, though. Based on the picture that they showed, to be exact, there are many ways you could look at this. This could be either A, they're planning to release the original Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Gear, Game Boy games. To be exact, though, limited run games have done that before, with certainly other games out there. Or B, this could mean we could see these games put on on a disc or a cartridge for the Nintendo Switch, and you can basically play them off on your system or download, or be available to download or anything like that. So there are many ways you could kind of look at this. It is an odd decision for them to do this, but then again, I've seen them do stuff like Night Trap and Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and all. So weird decision to do this, but there's an audience for it. I'm pretty sure there's going to be an audience for this one, though. We also learned that basically Legos and Nintendo will be having basically a new Lego set, though, very in line with what the Mario one is. And this one will be based off of Donkey Kong and all, though. It's not surprising that they are doing that, though, to be exact, though. But obviously there has been talks about Nintendo pushing Donkey Kong a little bit more than they have in the past, though. And this certainly is a first step and all. And given the Mario movie, it wouldn't surprise me if Donkey Kong is the next one up there, though. But yep, Legos and Nintendo is going to be doing a Donkey Kong Super Mario set, though. So if you enjoyed the Lego Super Mario, be on the lookout for the Donkey Kong one. And last but not least, we are learning that Nintendo will be at Gamescom 2023, which is somewhat unusual, though, because in the past, Nintendo has sort of skipped Gamescom and all. So for them to be here this year, though, is kind of interesting indeed. And it'll be very curious to see what Nintendo announce or shows off at Gamescom 2023. Maybe there are other games for the Switch this year that we don't know about and all. Maybe the rumors about the Switch successor might be announced. So there's so many ways this could go, though. I would, again, keep expectations in check, though, but I am kind of curious to see how this is basically going to play out, though. And in the movie and TV show part of the My Two Cent, though, we are learning that Disney has now filed a lawsuit against the Florida governor, Ron DeSantis, over basically what they claim is retaliation against them for speaking out under the controversial Don't Say Gay bill that passed in Florida. To basically that they are talking about their free speech is being violated. How far this lawsuit will go, or whether there will be settlement or not, that remains to be seen. But I am very curious to see how this is all going to play out, because basically Bob Iger, if I'm saying the name correctly, and Ron DeSantis have been doing a tit for tat. So we'll see how this all plays out, though. We also learned that basically first reactions have come out for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and so far the reactions seem to be very positive, as there are certainly people who do enjoy this movie, though. Depending on how well it does at the box office, that remains to be seen, though. I am looking forward to seeing that movie, though. I did enjoy the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I'm looking forward to how this one is going to be basically James Gunn's final movie in the MCU. And also, I'm very curious to see how this one ends, though, and I'll be curious to see what they do with Guardians of the Galaxy characters going forward, whether a new generation shows up or not. So going to be really interesting to see how this movie is going to handle and all. We also learned that there have been talks about what the villain's role in the upcoming Fantastic Four reboot, though. One of them seems to be an interesting rumor floating around indicating that Galactus could make an appearance in the movie, and he could be played by Antonio Banderas, though. Again, nothing's official at this time, though. But personally, I would love to see Galactus make his appearance into the MCU, though, because I think if you saw the movie Eternals, though, the celestial beings that they showed, though, they looked very similar to Galactus in a certain way. And since the celestial beings are going to judge humanity, though, I do wonder if this sort of sets it up in a way where basically they made their decision and they decided to send Galactus over to destroy the Earth and everything like that. So I'm very curious if they bring Galactus over and all that stuff. I would definitely be open to it. Hopefully he's handled somewhat better than what he was in The Rise of the Silver Surfer. That was released back in 2007, though. So we'll see how this one plays out, though. We also learned that basically Marvel's Disney Plus, I think Secret Avengers Secret Invasion is getting sort of a mature rating, at least in the UK. Supposedly the show will be getting a 16 plus rating in the United Kingdom. Now, no word on what the rating will be here in the US or anything like that, though, but it is worth pointing out, though, that rating systems in other countries are different than it is here in the US and all. So I'm curious to see what the final rating for Secret Invasion is going to be here in the US, though. I mean, I wouldn't be against it getting an M rated, though. I'm not sure that's going to happen and all, but I wouldn't be outright against the Secret Invasion getting an M rated, though. That would certainly be a first for Disney Plus and all. We also learned that the Super Mario Bros. Movie has crossed the 900 million global box office records so far, though. It's obviously this film has become a financial success for Universal, Illumination, and Nintendo as well, though. Do I think it's going to cross the $1 billion mark? Oh, yeah. There is no denying the fact that the Super Mario Bros. Movie will cross the $1 billion mark. When it happens, who knows? It could happen this weekend. It could happen by the time this video is done recording and everything like that. But there's no denying the fact that it will hit the $1 billion mark. And there's no denying the fact that I would not be surprised if we hear a sequel is in the works, though. Given how well this movie's done, they'll probably do a sequel or that rumored Donkey Kong movie we've been hearing about for quite some time. But either way, no doubt about it that this film has become a box office success for Universal, Illumination, and Nintendo. And last but not least, though, it is unfortunately reported that two celebrities has sadly passed away. The first one was Harry Belafonte, if I'm saying his name correctly, though. He basically is famous for. Most people have heard the song, like, for example, if you've watched the movie Beetlejuice, you've heard the song Deo, the Banana Boat song, or Jump in the Line near the ending of that song, though. Sadly, he passed away. He was at the age of 96, though. He basically is known to be an actor, producer, singer, and activist for civil rights movements, though. So, yeah, very unfortunate that he passed away, though. My heart goes out to his friends, family, and also fans who did enjoy his music, though. And unfortunately, he isn't the only one person that passed away as well. Apparently, controversial but known politician Jerry Springer has passed away, though he was at the age of 79, though. Supposedly the report is that he died from pancreatic cancer in his home in suburban Chicago, a family spokesman told The Hollywood Reporter. While he is known for running as the mayor of Cincinnati, though, or being mayor of Cincinnati, though, most people remember him for the Jerry Springer Show, probably considered to be extremely controversial to some folks out there, including some of the tone and some of the stuff and the enormous fights and a lot of things, though. I mean, it also paved way to other shows like Maury and other things like that, though. So regardless of what your view about Jerry Springer was or his show and all like that, there's no doubt of his spot in the entertainment industry, though. So he passed away at 79, though. Again, my heart goes out to his friends, his family, and even those fans, fans who enjoyed, whether you enjoyed the Jerry Springer Show or not, though. Okay, and with the quick My Two Cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with Nintendo and the FTC, though. Now, I'm going to be getting to the part about the CMA's decision on Microsoft and Activision soon. I'm sure most of you are aware of the CMA's decision at this point right now, though. But it seems as though with the FTC, though, there have been talks about been seen that they have been trying to do what they can to block this merger or acquisition going through, even going as far as taking this to the courts, which Microsoft seems to be more than willing to do so. Well, recently it seems as though that the FTC wants to speak with Nintendo, though, and seems to be that they're having some questions about Nintendo signing a 10-year deal to bring Call of Duty to the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo platform in general. Meanwhile, it does seem to indicate, though, that the Nintendo isn't happy with the FTC's decision on this and might be fighting back to a certain degree. Both of these articles from TweetTown, and here's what the article had to say. Quote, the Federal Trade Commission has taken an interest in the 10-year license deal that Microsoft signed with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to the Switch, but Nintendo may not have to provide specific details, though. Basically, Nintendo is fast becoming more involved with the FTC's antitrust lawsuit against the Microsoft Activision merger. A bit ago, we reported that Nintendo has asked the FTC law judge to toss out a subpoena summoning a very particular Nintendo of America executive to deliver sworn testimony before the FTC team's a lawyer, though. That article mentioned someone by, they want to hear they want to have requests to hear from Nintendo America's Steve Singer, who serves as Senior Vice President for Publishing and Development Relationship, to deliver sworn testimony before the FTC's Complaint Council, a group of lawyers representing the FTC that brings forth anti-competition charges against the merger. It points out that Singer was the one who negotiated with Microsoft to eventually create a 10-year license deal to bring Call of Duty games to the Nintendo Switch platform, though. Back in December 6th, Singer worked alongside Microsoft to sign a letter of intent or an official early draft of the Call of Duty deal, though. However, it does seem to indicate Nintendo of America it's not agreeing with basically this, though. But according to the article continuing on, it says, quote, now we have a better idea on the FTC's overall aim with the subpoena. Closer investigation of the motion to quash the subpoena indicate that the Federal Trade Commission wants more information on the 10-year Call of Duty license deal that Microsoft and Nintendo has signed. However, there isn't much details on the scope of these interests. FTC next subpoena, as I mentioned, this person who to deliver up to 7 hours of testimony to the FTC Complaint Council. Singer was who basically ironed out the deal on this, though. According to the filing, though, the FTC followed specific procedure with this particular subpoena. Nintendo of America counsels alleged that the FTC did not order the subpoena until it learned that Singer was the Nintendo executive responsible for negotiating with Microsoft. The FTC asked for the identity of the Nintendo negotiator on March 16th and then served a subpoena on March 29th to 30th. Both the identity request and the subpoena serving were made after the case subpoena deadline of March 3rd, though. The article continues with this being speculation, though, that based on the way that the FTC handled this particular subpoena, we could deduct that the agency wants to gather more information on these deals, perhaps not just in written and document form, but also part of a live testimony that puts Singer in the spotlight. It's unclear exactly what the FTC is fishing for and how Nintendo's information on the license deal could affect the case. However, it's worth mentioning that Sony Interactive Entertainment has been opposed to these deals, especially the one that Microsoft has offered to Sony. It's possible the FTC is trying to glean more information on the deal as it relates to Sony's complaint, though. It also mentions that this has already caused some confusion in Congress and the Senate Financial Committee that has been asking the FTC why they are siding with Sony and everything like that, though. This whole situation, since this merger was announced, has really gotten stranger and strange, though. I'm just wondering, the thing about the whole this is this. I'm not opposed to the FTC looking at this deal. I think they have a right to actually look at this deal. The fact that Microsoft wants to spend up to $70 billion to buy Activision Blizzard, though. But at the same time, I do have some questions about the FTC's decision, including ranging from siding with Sony to a certain degree to even basically my concern of is having political or biased reasons to oppose the deal. And yes, I may be beating a dead horse saying this, though, And I know this is going to come off as a political view for some, but I stand behind what I say, though. I'm concerned about this turning into what we saw with the AT&T Time Warner deal, where at the time, Trump, along with the FTC, worked hard to oppose that deal, mostly on the grounds of political and bias reasons. For Trump, his claim is CNN is hurting his feelings and all, but a judge ruled that you cannot make that decision. You cannot base it on a political and biased reason to prevent the merger and all. And I'm a little concerned about the FTC making a political or bias or siding with Sony as their only reason to oppose this merger. So it's going to be very interesting to see, especially in the wake of the CMA's decision on this, though, how far the FTC is willing to go or not, though. So overall, though, it's interesting the FTC is seeking testimony from Nintendo, though, and especially asking for 7 hours of it, though. It'll be very interesting to see what Nintendo and their lawyers do to whether or not they stop the FTC from doing this or not. So a lot of stuff going around here with this whole merger. It's been certainly, let's just say, a roller coaster of things being very interested in what is going on and all that. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with Horizon Burning Shores, and apparently there's been some, basically, Metacritic responding to some of the review bombing that's been going on with that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about Horizon Burning Shores, particularly with the user reviews or review bombing that has been going on with that game, though. Now, when it comes to user score or user reviews, though, to me, sometimes this could be a double-edged sword. Now, I'm not saying all user review scores are necessarily bad or user reviews are bad in general, though. There are those who I do feel do a really good job in terms of their writing, in terms of what they like and what they don't like about it, though. And sometimes they do a better job than what some of the critics do. Not saying what the critics do are necessarily, not saying all critics are necessarily bad, but I'm not saying that you have to agree with everything the critics said and all. But for every time there is a user review that is actually good or gives a very well informative review, there has been times when some reviewers or some folks will take it a bit too far or just do something with just basically review bombing or reverse review bombing, as we saw with Balan Wonderworld, though. And to me, I would say I'm outright opposed to review bombing in general, though. I do not agree with it, though. We've seen this before. We saw it with Astro Chain, though. We've seen it before with movies as well, like Captain Marvel, which to the point, it got to a point that Rotten Tomato had to not only delete some of these reviews, but change their policy basically off of the fact that people were abusing the before you see the movie, writing their review of a movie they haven't seen, and now you have to show proof that you've seen this movie before you write a review. Well, now it seems as though basically Metacritic may be taking that approach, and this has to do with basically with Horizon Burning Shore, particularly a scene that has certainly got some folks, at least how I'm seeing it though, and yes, this might be a political view for some, going out of their way playing the woke card and all. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, though, it reads that, quote, Horizon Forbidden West was released last week and is widely praised by critics for its story and gameplay addition. However, one plot point appears to have led to the game being reviewed bomb on Metacritic, where it currently has a user score at 4.0 and was as low as 2.7, though. I won't reveal the whole thing, though. But let's just say it does evolve with Aloy's sexuality and everything like that, though. And it seems that not everyone is happy about that, though. But anyway, moving on, though. In response to the review bombing, Metacritic and fandom told Eurogamer they were aware of this abuseful and disrespectful review of Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shore and claimed they were currently evolving our process and tools to introduce stricter moderation in the coming months. Fandom is a place of belonging for all fans, and we take online trust and safety very seriously across our site, including Metacritic, the statement reads. So, Metacritic is aware of the abuse and disrespectful reviews of Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores, and we have moderation systems in place to track violations of our terms of use. Our team reviews each and every report of abuse, including but not limited to racist, sexist, homophobic insults to other users, etc. And if violations occur, the reviews are removed. We are currently evolving our process and tools to introduce stricter moderations in the coming months. Now, as I said earlier, to be absolutely clear, I'm not against user reviews at all. I think there are those who actually do a very good job with when they write their reviews, though. And some actually do a very good job presenting it and everything like that, though. It's just that when you have, it's just when you have those who are a couple bad seeds that just want to review bomb it because it doesn't fit their ideologue or agenda, that's when it starts ruining it for everyone else, though. And it is a little bit unfortunate that it has gotten to this point where you now have to have Metacritic really now start changing some of this stuff, though. I mean, it really is. Look, I'm not saying you have to like the story for Burning Shore or anything like that. If you don't like it, you don't have to like it, though. But when it gets to the point that you're going as far as claiming it's basically pushing, let's just say, questioning, disagreeing with Aloy's sexuality, or going as far as playing the woke card for no apparent reasons, that's where I have to draw the line right there. I mean, that's like, okay, you're not writing a review. You're basically review bombing, though. This is very similar to what we saw with the movie Captain Marvel back in 2019. Again, no one's saying you have to like that film if you don't want to, though. But basically, the review bombing got so bad that Rotten Tomato had to do something, and now it does seem to indicate that Metacritic may have to do the same thing, and that's really very unfortunate, though. And it's really unfortunate that people are going as far as review bombing this, though, and that is absolutely ridiculous, though. I've seen people review bomb for stupid reasons. I mean, people review bomb Breath of the Wild because it scored higher on Metacritic than Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think that was an incredibly stupid reason to review bomb it, though. So I'm not a big fan of review bombing in general. I don't support it. I don't agree with that approach and anything like that, even if you like the product or not or anything like that. And it wouldn't surprise me if some folks, not everyone, to be clear, not everyone will do this, if someone wants to push a change.org petition to shut down Metacritic because they did put a review up or something like that. I mean, it shows just how sometimes some folks can be extremely toxic on the internet, though, and it shows an ugly side of it, to be exact, and it reinforces that statement. So overall, I'm not against user reviews. I think there are definitely users out there who put out very good reviews and everything like that. It's just a shame when you have folks who you do review bombing, or even go as far as playing the woke card that ruins it for everyone else, though. And I understand Metacritic's reason for doing this, though. It's just really sad that they have to take even stricter moderation because there are a couple bad seeds that go out there and ruin it for everyone else that wants to basically give their honest take or honest review of something, even if they're trying to be as respectful as they possibly can, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with the Microsoft and Activision and the response from CMA, though. Spoiler alert, it's not good for Microsoft and Activision, though. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are now back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the Microsoft Activision deal and of course the CMA's response, which, let's be honest though, I think a lot of us were kind of surprised to see the CMA's response to not support this deal, despite earlier this year we saw them say supposedly address certain concerns, though. So it was kind of a bit of a shock to hear this, though, and it seems to evolve a lot around behind cloud gaming, though. In response to this, though, it does seem that Microsoft will try to appeal the deal or try to appeal at least the CMA's ruling. Supposedly, several articles that seem to point this out has basically sums up what the CMA's decisions are. They say, quote, Microsoft's proposal contains a number of significant shortcomings with the growing and fast-moving nature of cloud gaming service. One of the big things that kind of prevents this deal from going through in the UK. They point out it does not significantly cover different cloud gaming service business models, including the multi-game subscription service. It was not significantly open to providers who might wish to offer versions of games on PC operating systems other than Windows. It would standardize the terms and conditions on which games are available, as opposed to them being determined by the dynamics and creative of competition in the market, as it would be expected in the absence of the merger. Given the remedies applies only to defined set of Activision games which can be streamed only in a defined set of cloud gaming service providers, they are purchased in a defined set of online stores. There are significant risks of disagreements and conflict between Microsoft and cloud gaming service providers, particularly over a 10-year period in a rapid changing market. Accepting Microsoft's remedy would inevitably require some degree of regulatory oversight by the CMA. By contrast, preventing the merger would effectively allow the market to focus to continue to operate and shape the development of cloud gaming without this regulatory intervention, though. So one of the big reasons why they oppose this deal is basically the cloud gaming service. Despite signing deals with Booster, Boosteroid, Ubis, and GeForce Now, even NVIDIA has come out and spoke out against what the CMA has basically done and everything like that. Now, is this deal officially dead or anything like that? While some have come out and say that it is, others are not. So I don't think it sounds like it's completely dead at this time, though. There have been some analysis that have come out about this, though. Some analysis have basically said, and basically, this is what they had to say, though. This one from the Hollywood Reporter seems to point out, at best, Griffin sees the competition appeal tribunal in UK, to whom Microsoft will now scramble to overturn the ruling, confirm the CMA's concern for takeover deal on competition ground. We won't spill much more ink on the faulty logic through the CMA's analysts, or why cloud gaming isn't ready for prime time and almost certainly going to be a vector on competition between Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, and not a distant market. What's the point, though? Says this person, Griffin. Other analysts seem to be throwing up their hands, agreeing Microsoft has little chance of successfully applying to the UK ruling to reveal the mega deal. The CMA state that its primary concern was a lessening of competition and innovation in the cloud gaming market. While Microsoft and Activision indicate they will appeal, we think the chances of success are no more than 10%. Doug Schenstritz, though, an analyst at TC Crone, wrote in an investor's note, though. Other analysis like Drew CRUM argues it would seem impractical to operate outside an important market such as the UK if Microsoft fails to overturn the CMA ruling. This person also notes opposition from US regulators, as the Federal Trade Commission has sued to block the gaming deal, a case that is expected to be heard this summer. Although, as I mentioned, there have been reports that Republicans and Democrats have been asking the FTC over this and why they think they are favoring Sony and all that stuff. However, not all analysts think that this deal is completely dead, though. Some analysts do believe that basically the deal isn't. Two of those are Pierce Harling-Rose, research director of games at Ampere Analyst, and of course the infamous, Michael Patcher, though. Which, to be clear, though, Michael Patcher does have a history of saying things that don't really make a lot of sense, like saying that Nintendo should go third party while they put out their next system following the Wii U's failure, though. But he is looking at this from an investor and regulatory point of view. So maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong, though. But anyway, in a research note sent to Video Game Chronicles, though, Patcher says the CMA has thrown a wrench into the process, but the deal isn't dead. He believes Microsoft can win the case on appeal, but even if it doesn't, he says the Xbox maker could still make concessions that will help clear the deal. While successfully appealing a CMA decision is a difficult task for several reasons, we think the CMA is on the wrong side of the law on this ruling and believes its concerns can be addressed. Ultimately, though, the ruling hinges on the CMA's belief that if Microsoft would have a pricing power due to its market dominance in cloud gaming, we think that the CMA belief is correct, and Microsoft erred is not addressing this issue before the CMA's ruling. However, we firmly believe that Microsoft is willing to concede maintaining a price at $15 per month plus inflation, and we believe the CMA will reverse its position if Microsoft makes that offer. In a statement also provided for Video Game Chronicles, Hardling's role said that today's ruling was clearly a blow to Microsoft and Activision and their effort to get the acquisition over the line, but the deal can still close this year. Historically, a majority of CMA's appeals have been unsuccessful, but there is still a chance that this can be overturned, he said. According to Competition Appeal Tribunal site, straightforward cases are aimed to be dealt with within 9 months, but often takes at least a few months. If the appeal is successful, it then returns to the CMA to review, which again will take some time. So we could be looking towards the end of the year if everything goes in favor of Microsoft and Activision to close the deal, though. Should the appeal prove unsuccessful, Patrick said Microsoft could still win the CMA approval by agreeing to keep Activision Blizzard title off its Game Pass subscription service in the UK. It can separate Game Pass UK from Game Pass elsewhere, either by creating a separate entity in the UK that can easily be monitored by the CMA, or by appointing a third party, or by merely managing the UK business separately, he wrote. We can expect this will be significant for the CMA to rule the merger acceptable on the condition that Activision titles are not available on Game Pass, though. Microsoft will agree to this condition subject to an appeal, should it prevail. It captures full value of the acquisition. Should it fail, it captures most of the value, but its prospect for Game Pass growth in the UK, a low percentage of global GPS, will be limited due to a lower amount of content available on the surface. Excuse me. So apparently some analysts do believe that this deal may not be as dead as some people are making it out to be. Is it possible that Microsoft may have to make more concessions to maybe get the CMA to revise this or re-examine this deal? That's a possibility, though. I mean, there may have to be some changes if Microsoft and Activision Blizzard are very serious about challenging the CMA on this, though. But either way, this probably isn't a good thing for Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. Does this mean this is the end of Xbox? No, but I do think it may force them to reevaluate their approach going forward on this, to be exact, though. So overall, I would say I don't think the deal is completely dead yet, though. But clearly, this is not the news Activision Blizzard and Microsoft wanted, though. It's clear they're going to have to reevaluate and re-examine this approach. And there's no doubt that I'm sure the FTC is happy about the CMA's ruling, but we'll see if things change, though. I mean, I would say most likely there's a good chance this deal will not close by May, as many had thought it would be, though. This obviously throws a wrench at it, though. Could it close by the end of the year? Is it possible this deal could still be done by the end of the year? That's a possibility, but time will ultimately tell if that truly happens or not, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 4, and this one has to do with apparently a job listing possibly for Nintendo's next system. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with Nintendo's next system, or Switch successor, or new hardware to be exact, though. Ever since the Switch has came out back in 2017, though, and has continued to be extremely successful for Nintendo, though, there has always been almost every year during the Switch's life cycle, or currently right now, basically rumors about Nintendo's next system. We've heard rumors from basically ranging from a 4K, a Switch Pro, and all that stuff. Even reports indicated that at one point Nintendo was considering a Switch Pro, but decided against that, to be exact though. And recent rumors we've been hearing about is just how powerful Nintendo's next system, or Switch 2, that it will probably still be a hybrid, but maybe under a different name, to the fact that it might use another chip in the Tegra series, the Tegra 239. It's been floated around though, to even being as powerful as maybe a Xbox Series S. So to even using NVIDIA's DLSS technology and all. So there's been a lot of questions about this, or a lot of rumors have been flying around. But one particular part about the rumor about Nintendo's next system or Switch successor has always been the backwards capability though. That sort of remains sort of the elephant in the room, to be exact, because many wonder if the Nintendo's next system will be able to play Switch games on it though, and many are concerned that probably would not happen and could be kind of a hard sell for those who are could be a hard sell for Nintendo, who's trying to convince people to go from the Switch to their next system of all. In fact, even I remember believing Montage Vintage Gamer made a video about this in terms of how Nintendo could or approach this and all, and some of the difficulties, to be exact though. Well, in a recent rumor that seems to be going around, it seems as though, or at least from a job hiring, that there may be a solution, or at least what Nintendo might be doing, in terms of backwards capability for their system though. The following article comes from basically the Gamer, and it seems a report indicated that there is definitely a report of possibly a job listed and all. Anyway, the article reads that, quote, "A new job posted, however, shows indication Nintendo's thoughts about the next generation. And funny enough, it's from the nerds among you, though. Well, to be specific, Nintendo's European Research and Development, NERD is what they call. The job offer was shared on Reset Era and details a posting for gaming technology R&D engine scientists. This person will be needed for, among other things, high performance implication and cross-platform development though. The job offer looks to be legitimate and is dated for this year and includes some highly suggestive tidbits that might offer clues about Nintendo's future. As mentioned, the jobs offered is for Nerds, which is a French subsidiary of Nintendo and located in central Paris. Apparently, this more tech-focused offshoot of the company working with their Japanese and American counterpart on such things as emulation, signal processing, computer vision, and machine learning, among other things. But this specific job posted related to game development though. The job will need the application to work on real-time rendering and game engine architectural, but here's the key part. The goal will be to aim for and go beyond state-of-the-art solution in these field targets current and next-gen Nintendo platforms. It continues, it will be necessary to collaborate with game developers to bring new technology to the market. Among the console platforms remaining, Nintendo has been hardest to predict, while Xbox and PlayStation are looking locked into the ARM race development for even more powerful consoles and focusing on resolution and GPU grunt. Nintendo has been chipping away at its own thing ever since the Wii. While the GameCube still vied with the PS2 and the Xbox, it was the Wii as the first market to Kyoto venture as trying to do something completely different with that console's USB being its motion control. The Switch-only functionality amplifies the difference with the console's hybrid nature, eventually providing a smash hit and some initial confusions. It might be hard to recall, but some critics were initially baffled by its design coming after the unpopularity of the Wii U. While it shouldn't come as a surprise that Nintendo is working on its next generation, since console development takes many, many years, the Nerd job offering does offer clues with the real-time rendering and cross-platform development mentioned, especially suggested as the Reset Era commentator pointed out, could mean that Nintendo Switch Online is carried over to the next generation. And even if it's hard to predict what the company will do next, but whatever it does, announcing the Switch successor, the game world will be shaken up once more. Now, again, it is from Reset Era, so some grain of salt should be taken with this, so we don't have any confirmation at this time of how accurate this is, though. Still, assuming this report is true, and this is a big if, though, it could answer some questions about what Nintendo might be doing in terms of backwards capability, though, ranging from their Nintendo Switch Online service carrying over to their next system to maybe this answers a lot of the questions in terms of addressing the backwards capability concern, to be exact, though. It's one of the issues that many are wondering will Nintendo address in terms of their next system. And supposedly, though, it is said to believe that Miyamoto has mentioned this before, hinted as much as when come to backwards capability, confirming that this functionality is very much remains in the company's radar. So obviously Nintendo is looking at how to do that, how to take those who purchase the physical version of the Switch games, or digital version to be exact, and bring it over to the next system, though. As for what that next system might be, it remains to be seen at this time, though. I still believe it's still going to be the hybrid concept, though, to be exact, though. I don't think Nintendo's going to abandon that concept, though. Maybe a different approach, but I expect that it will still remain the hybrid concept no matter what, though. And I wouldn't be surprised if it uses some of, NVIDIA's technology, considering the relationship Nintendo and NVIDIA have right now, though, in terms of the DLSS technology. And also, I suspect it would be that. I could be wrong, but we'll have to wait and see, though. But overall, I would say, though this is a rumor for now, though, I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo is looking at ways to address the backwards capability issue, though, to be exact, though. And assuming this rumor is true, it sounds like they're definitely addressing this concern, to be exact, though. How they address it, though, that remains to be seen at this time. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the FTC asking Nintendo regarding the 10-year deal they signed with Microsoft and Activision Blizzard over Call of Duty, though? Do you think the FTC has a legitimate point, though? Do you think the FTC is going a bit overboard? Do you think Nintendo will, assuming that Nintendo takes this to court, do you think Nintendo will win, or do you think they will lose? What are your thoughts about Metacritic responding to the review bombing that's been going on with the Horizon Forbidden West DLC, Horizon Burning Shores, though? Do you think Metacritic's going overboard, or do you think what they are doing is right in terms of responding to the review bombing, similar to what Rotten Tomato did following the review bombing of Captain Marvel? What are your thoughts about the CMA's decision to block the Microsoft Activision deal? Do you believe that this deal is now officially dead in the waters, or do you feel like it may not be as dead as some people think it might be, and that Microsoft and Activision might have to make some changes in order to really get this through and all? And what are your thoughts about this rumor about Nintendo addressing backwards capability and all that stuff? Do you think this rumor that popped up on Reset Era, do you think this is true? Do you think Nintendo will address backwards capability in any way? And if so, how do you think they're going to approach it? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I will appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Streamlabs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!